One aspect of designing with standardized prefabricated components is really sort of knowing where to start in terms of a layout. And it's one of the reasons that BPublic has SketchUp components that can be downloaded so that you really do have the object and then you're sort of placing those objects as you go along, much like Legos. And it's nice to have sort of a fixed object or a parameter to then work from. Still, there are some nice, just sort of simple guidelines that can be used to make sure buildings being laid out in a way that is most conducive to structural layouts, as well as reducing complexity that could increase your costs of construction. And one of the most basic layout, and you might laugh at this, but that just understanding where exactly your bearing walls are. So if I've got a house that's, a simple prefabricated shape or a simple residential design, that these, in this scenario, these two side walls, right, are your bearing walls. So you have your bearing walls are across from each other, and then this is considered a gable wall. And so one thing that's really is noting that condition, that a bearing wall will be placed first on the exterior, will line to the exterior corner, say there, and then your gable wall will come and fit inside of it. So that'll ensure that your bearing walls are set to your exterior, making sure that all your bearing is consistent at 24 inches on center. Designing with prefabricated, standardized building components can be a little counterintuitive at times from an architectural perspective. And there's a couple tricks for just starting layout that we wanted to go over with you that'll really help your project be consistent from a bearing perspective and ensuring that it's not engaging in more complexity than it needs to. And a big part of it is just how we're laying out bearing walls initially. So when we first do layout, say if we have a floor plan, simple floor plan, little jog here. So simple floor plan. So this would be our bearing wall here and on this side. And then also here, and then running on this side. So in this condition, this bearing wall would run all the way to the exterior of the building, as would this one. And then what we call the gable wall would fit inside of it. That'll make sure that both your bearing walls have the same start point, making the bearing points and stud locations super consistent so that it has consistent bearing in that way. And the same here as well, that typically this would be a bearing wall opposed on the opposite side of a bearing wall, and then again your gable wall would fit inside of it.